Howdy, all of you delicious people. I'm here today to review Commando. So, when I went into this movie, I couldn't help but realize that this film and Wolverine Origins, as far as story, is fairly similar. When you go into Commando, you are to find out that a number of men that John Matrix has worked with in the past has gotten killed. John Matrix, who of course is Arnold Schwarzenegger in this film. And so John Matrix is to find out that a number of his previous soldiers that he had worked with had been killed, and so they send this guy out named Kirby, who is to tell him, hey, um, somebody's probably coming for you. Like, let's bring some soldiers out to just kind of protect you. All of a sudden, to turn around and have forcibly John Matrix, needing to go on and do an entire mission, all because of a woman, or in this instance, a girl, which is really just like Wolverine Origins. You go on and you have a plethora of Wolverine's previous uh, soldiers that he has gone on and worked with had all gotten killed off by a certain person, and then come and turn around. Wolverine is to lose the one he is to love in that movie, and then go on and be Weapon X. So, and then go on and try to search out for his own brother, but then on top of that, search out Alkali Lake, or no, that's an X-Men 2. Wherever the island is in the Wolverine Origin movie. So, with that said, this is a really fun movie. I love the fact that there isn't the best effects in here. You can tell that certain buildings that were getting blown up in this movie had like stand-ins or like mannequins or whatever. That felt very obvious. Uh, there's a lot of times when people have to get shot in this movie and they have to get blown 20 feet for some goofy reason. Like, it just become this like ridiculous joke of like everybody who had to get shot was like blown, like seemingly blown away every time they were get riddled with bullets, with the exclusion of Diaz at one point. Um, so really, I had a lot of fun with this film. Um, just better than I actually thought it was going to be. Even though there is, like, to me, there's some goofy parts of this movie. Because, like, some of the action stuff, or just some things just don't exactly hold up. But still, I had fun with this one. How we have to have these big, huge, massive weapons and all that stuff. Especially with these, like, rocket launcher, like, things like we see here. Um, but yeah, so we also go on and are to have like some lines that John Matrix is to deliver in this movie that feels like very similar to some of the stuff that he has delivered in past, where it's like it's either "I'll be back" or he goes "wrong," and like "wrong" was of course I think something that he said in the very first like Terminator movie, where we had the guy in the gun shop and he was like, well, sorry, sir, but you have to go on and you have to wait for that. You can't just put a bullet right into a gun, and he's wrong, and then he shoots him. So yeah, like, fun movie. I enjoyed it. Where can you say that you can see this movie? Because technically, teed it up, it's a fairly simple film to follow. We have a guy named Arius who is to want John Matrix to go on and overthrow a current president of a place called Valverde, and we have John Matrix who's to go on over like, dude, I'm not gonna do that freaking mission. Like, I'm just gonna go on and find my kid. Like, that's all he cared about. And so, like, I'll get into more specifics when we go into spoilers. But at the end of the day, this movie is pretty simple. It's pretty simple, a ton of action, a lot of good stuff. Uh, I eat green berets for breakfast, and I'm hungry. If anything, I love the banter and the lines that Cindy has to deliver in this movie, especially when we have Cindy who's seeing both Cook and Matrix just duke it out. These guys are eating a lot of red meat. Oh my god. Just some of the fun line delivery in this movie. Just like you can't help but just be like, just some good stuff. So where with that said, where can we go on and see these films or see this film? I mean, you could probably go on and watch Wolverine Origins, probably on Disney Plus, right? Cause it's a Fox film, probably. If not, then conveniently could probably see it on Amazon. Commando, where could you say that you could see this movie? Well, currently, right now, it's available on Stars. I know a lot of people tend to go and download Stars anyways because there's a lot of good content on there. It seems like there's a number of things that are fairly popular, like American Gods, or possibly Heels if you're a Stephen Amell fan. Go ahead and check that out. It seems that Heels is going to get to have a season 2 soon, so definitely anticipating that. Definitely going to be really interested in that. Heels is a wrestling show. If people don't know what that is, but you can go on and watch like Thor: The Dark World on there right now. You can watch Venom. You can watch all the Spider-Man movies that are right there, with the exclusion of possibly No Way Home, because that's brand new or newish. You know what I mean? So, also, you can go on and eventually be able to watch this movie by doing a number of things, which that I'll list here. You can go into a Google search and search the word letter C movies app. Hopefully, there in fact you'll be able through a Google search be able to find this app, be able to download it, and be able to say that you can see whatever you like, premium access stuff, things that you would only be able to see on certain apps exclusively, you can see on this app for absolutely free. If you don't want ads, then there in fact you can pay a fee to see whatever you want. You can go on to a Google search and search the word Fox HD Movies. Whatever I say next really is to not affect what I just said, because in my head I will tell you Fox HD Fox HD Movies is the logo, but the title of the thing will be like Play 1080p HD Movies. But again, regardless, Fox HD Movies is the thing to search. You can also go on to a Google Play Store and search the word TV Crush. Not quite sure if you're going to be able to see Commando, but you'll be able to go out of your way to see a number of things for absolutely free, like No Way Home, if that's really what you want to go on and see. So, now that I've got all that rigmarole out of the way, really in a lot of ways I kind of already teed up this movie for those of you. I would say, like, grading wise, kind of tough. I feel like this movie is a positive. It's fun, really fun. I enjoyed it. I don't know if I would probably go on and say like. I don't know if I'd want to go and say that this is a great film. I would say that this is probably a good plus film, considering like the way we have John Matrix, who's to like supposed to do some mission, and he just like, well, that, and he just turns around and goes for his would-be kidnappers or people who were tied into that kidnapping situation. and like it's a fun movie, but also like just stuff about it just seems just goofy. So I would have to say that this is a good plus or a good solid movie. But again, you probably also go here to laugh at this film at some points. So yeah, like it's a good plus. I would almost go into grade territory, but still, like um, there's a lot of goofy things about this film. Um, but man, like you can't help but like be just amazed by Arnold just logging that freaking tree trunk around. Look at me, I have a tree. And then freaking Arnold is like cracking the wood and whatever. Um, but yeah, like not only that, but then we also have that one effect where he has like that phone booth that he's just like right over his freaking like shoulder and he like flings it. Man, that's pretty cool too. But anyways, I think it's about time to just double fire this bad boy up. Let's just go on to spoilers because it's about that time to go into spoiler time. Spoiler time. It's about the time to get to spoil this movie. So, very beginning of this movie, we of course go on and we have a couple that is in bed. They're like, yeah, this is like they're hearing the hustle and bustle of garbage men, and they're like, wait a minute, like, what day is trash day? And they're like, oh, it's Tuesday. It's like, well, maybe they changed the day. I don't know. So all of a sudden, we have a guy named Lawson who goes out to dispense his garbage to have the guy just say like, oh, I thought that you guys were gonna like miss me, and we have these two garbage men that's like, nope, we're not gonna miss anything because we're gonna pelt you with bullets. And so Cook and Diaz are to kill a guy named Lawson. And so then we go on and we have this car dealership where we have this guy called Forrestal who is to go on here and is to try and sell Cook this car. And Cook really is only interested in the price of this car, which is going to be free, as soon as he crashes his way through this massive window to kill Forrestal by running him over in this dealership. So, and I was like, man, like the way they like start off this film is like really cool. Like this almost gave me flashbacks to the movie The Hidden. Because man, The Hidden like was really surprisingly good. There were some goofy things in the movie, but man, just surprisingly a good film. Um, yeah, I enjoyed it. So, anyways, so pushing on. So we have Arnold who's going off and chopping wood in the middle of nowhere in some like compound, like out of nowhere. Where does Jenny even go to school? Like, is she homeschooled? Is Arnold like giving her education because he was a kindergarten cop at one point, right? I'm God, what was it? I lead, I don't read from the Simpsons movie. So so we go on and we have Arnold who's going on and has this big huge massive trunk that he's just walking around with, this tree trunk. Just I have a tree. And so we have Arnold like shirtless, but then he has this like shirt like over the tree trunk. And so Matrix goes on and he's starting to like chop away this wood, and he is to like kind of hear somebody coming, and so he has like the reflection of the axe to kind of see who exactly it is. And so it seems that Jenny is going to want to try to get the drop on Matrix here, on John here, but he won't let that happen. John all of a sudden is to go and spring and grab Jenny, and so this all of a sudden has these bulk of montages of both of them, like having these like kind of like these cute moments between one another, where like they're going on and they're both having ice cream, like, oh, let me try that. Oh, let me try that. And then poo. So we also have both Jenny and we have John here, and they're swimming together in this pool, and he like grabs her and flings her, and not like heavily flings her, but like in the pool, just kind of messing around. Um, they also go and like feed this like deer or something like that, some little food, and all this montage of oh, look at this adorable just like mother and father thing. um Tour it ends with John going on and seeing the fridge, and Jenny is to like put this like, I love you, dad. He's like, I love you too. Smooch smooches. So we go on and we have this helicopter that is to fly by of course, John's place, and Jenny's like, well, like you better not like be going out again on another mission, and John is like, no, like, like, like I'm gonna stay right here. So, cue me stopping the whole Arnold accent. My bad. It's funny. It is. So John has helicopter flying by, and he's like, "Get to the chopper." Why? So John goes on. John goes on to meet up with a guy named Kirby, who is to have a bunch of military men, and so John is, of course, talking to this Kirby guy, mentioning that two previous soldiers that John had been with have gotten killed, and so Kirby is in fear that John may be next. So John is just like, well, okay. And so it seems that Kirby here is really just to want to push Matrix into another mission, and he's just like, no, like, I'm just gonna stick with my daughter, and like that's it. Like, I'm retired. I have no interest in doing anything. So after Kirby is to leave, we then go on and have like these two soldiers just outside this guy's place, and immediately we have Bennett's men, will kind of Varys's men, or Arius's men, who is to be led by Bennett. And so Bennett is to have Diaz and a number of like Cook and a number of men all trying to get to Matrix here. And so Matrix is to, of course, be blocking his daughter from getting riddled with bullets as the soldiers are going down, and one soldier is to kind of make it back into the place that Matrix is living, and he kind of falls off. And so John, of course, is to ask this soldier, it's like, well, hey, like, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, I'll live. So we have Matrix telling Jenny to just go off into her room and hide out there. So, because John is going to go off to his shed and get his rifle. And I'm like, oh my god, like, when you go on, you have John going to this shed. Like, man, does he have some pretty substantial weaponry. I was like, oh my god, like, this guy has like an arsenal in there. Like, he's freaking just like, really? Like, you would have thought like he would have had like a double barrel shotgun or something like that in there. No, this guy just like whips out like this gun that I couldn't justify like a common person having. But like, that's an action movie for you. So we go on to have John that is to grab this gun, and so he goes on and is to eventually make it into his house, and Diaz is to tell him, it's like, well, hey, you're going to work for us. Uh, as he's holding the sign that says, I love you, Dad. He's like, yeah, you're going to come to work with us. And John's like, wrong. And he freaking kills him. Then he goes on to find out where uh, these other guys are, and he shoots one guy down. And so he finds out that there's two vans that are that I guess one of them are to have kidnapped Jenny here, and so Matrix scrambles to get to his car, realizing that they had like pulled, I guess, the entire engine out, or I guess they just took a part out of there, and so like that leaves uh, John to not be able to drive this car. So John goes on and freaking pushes the car. And I'm like, oh my god. He pushes his car. And so now this car is going downhill. And we just have Coke who's just like, well, I guess he's driving this car, no brakes. And so like John is just like, yeah, I'm coming for you. And so we go on and we just have Matrix here, and like his car is just all over the place. It's like boom, 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 boom. I'm like, good God, whoever the stuntman was who had probably had to be in that car, God, what a horrible job that probably was. But anyways, so and we have like John who's just kind of like driving all over the place. So we have it where like eventually like perfectly lined up with this car that John had to stop one of the vans, like, or stop one of the cars dead in its tracks. But then like John is to also like crash this vehicle, and it bursts into flames. And so John then goes on and is to try to get back to the vehicle, and it seems like he's outgunned here. And all of a sudden, we have a tranquilizer dart going into John, and that's when, of course, we see Bennett here. John, of course, is to wake up kind of tied up onto this table, where, of course, Bennett, it's like, yeah, I put a tranquilizer in you, but I wanted to do the real thing. God, this guy is like so like kind of so like Sabretooth in this movie. From Wolverine Origins is kind of like, but we have like Bennett in this movie. We have Bennett kind of going in the Tobey Maguire way of like action, where if you go on and you like listen to the very first like early Spider-Man movies, and you would hear like Toby like yell in pain, kind of sounds girly. But man, were those movies just so great. Oh man, I love them. I thoroughly enjoy them. And there's nothing about it that like I feel, even though you can kind of be like, well, the effects don't really work, or this is still fun movies. But yeah, so pushing on. So we have Arius who shows up here and was to be a previous ruler over Valverde. And I don't know how it's to be really pronounced that way, but I just am going to say it that way anyways. So we go on and we have Arius who's saying that he wants John Matrix to overthrow the current president of Valverde to then have of course Arius be the new like ruler of there. And so we go on and we of course have guys who are going to go with of course John Matrix to make sure that he goes on and does this. But before we go on and have him do this mission, he has to see his daughter first to see what he's fighting for. So they have his daughter, and we of course have Sully, who kind of is like cricking freaking Arnold's neck, trying to show like, okay, like, yeah, your daughter is right here, we have her, so like, make sure you're gonna go on and do this mission because you don't want her to be dead now, do you? So we have Matrix that goes on, and I wonder how exactly the Keanu Reeves movie got its movie title. Do you think they're watching Commando, going through all the action movie lists, and they're just like, like, you know what, like, Matrix sounds like a really cool name for a movie. So, I now I'm kind of curious how the Matrix got its got its name. I should really go on and hopefully somehow figure that out. But anyways, so Matrix is to go on to this airport, and so Sully is to go on with a guy named uh, Henrikex, sure, a big guy, and so Henris, let's go with that. And so Sully is to go on and be the guy watching them going on to the plane, and then the other guy is to go on and be with, of course, Matrix while he's on the plane to make sure, like, he's there. So they go on the plane, and so what Matrix does is, as soon as they sit down, we then have Matrix here asking for a pillow and some bed sheets, and so when they give him that, Matrix turns around and is to go on and like freaking elbow this guy in the face, and then goes on and like grabs him and just snaps his neck, and then gives him a pillow, puts some sheet on him, put a hat on. Excuse me. And so Henrix is dead. And so we have John that tells his stewardess, it's like, could you not bother my friend here? He's dead tired. And so Arnold goes on, and he is to, before the plane takes off, he goes on to say that he's needing to go to the bathroom, and the stewardess is like, well, excuse me, sir, you can't go on, and like, while the plane is like taking flight, you can't just go on. And he's like, well, I'm air sick. So we have Matrix that goes on, and it seems like he's going to the bathroom, but instead he's going into this elevator to then go into the storage compartment of the plane, to then get to the wheel part of the plane to just try to jump off, as he's going to jump off where there's water. Luckily for him, there's water in a piece. What would have happened if he would have just jumped off somewhere? So we turn around and have Matrix, who's just kind of running into this airport to, at some point, see Sully, who's talking to some stewardess. Not quite sure what the actual PC whatever word is now. If stewardess is still a thing to say, I don't know. Maybe it's flight attendant. I don't know. Whatever it is. So Sully is, of course, like, just listening on in this phone conversation that this girl named Cindy is to have. And so that leads John to just go like, like, I think I'm going to go on and use this girl to help me get to Sully. So we have John follow Cindy to her car, and John goes and opens this door and is to rip this car door out, and then he just kind of sits there. He's like, follow that guy. So Cindy, like, should realize that John has, like, no gun on him, nothing. And Cindy's just like, well, I guess, like, the fear of this massive guy could probably break her in half. Maybe that could be the enough. Just be like, I'll do whatever you say. So Cindy is uh, following Sully here, and that leads to this mall where Sully is trading this weird red suitcase to this man who is to give him, I think, some like fake passports or fake IDs. So we go on and we have Sully, who is to be at this place. So Cindy is to, of course, go in to the place that Sully's in, because John is telling Cindy, it's like, well, hey, you need to help me go on and tell this guy that you're crazy about him. And so, like, when you go on and you have him like come out here, then I'll take care of him. Like, please, you need to help me because, like, my daughter has been kidnapped by these men and I need your help. So Cindy goes on into this place, technically, like John had said, but Cindy goes on and reports to this, like, I guess, mall cop, because it's like walkie talk. If, like, you have these guys who are like all uniformed up, but like I don't think they're real cops. I just think that they're mall cops. So Cindy is talking to this mall cop, let's just say, and so she's saying, like, well, hey, this guy in this green shirt, like, shouldn't you have just said like halfway button down shirt or something like that? Been more, a little bit more specific. Should have said big muscular guy in a green shirt. Anyways, so Cindy is mentioning a guy in a green shirt that's out there, that, like, she goes on and says, like, what all this guy is forcing her to do. And so the guy, like, kind of pokes his head out and he's like, I think it's that muscular guy over there. So we go on and we have this mall cop who's on his walkie, and he gets the other cop in there, and the other cop's like, yeah, you want to see me kick some butt, ladies? Yeah. I'm sure that's what you're going to be doing with this big, huge, massive, muscular man. So we go on and we have Sully anyways after his transaction is being done from this guy, and he's kind of looking, he's like, and he sees Cindy there, and so Sully's like, maybe I can get me some of that after all. So Cindy is to go on out of this building and see all these mall cops surrounding John, because they're like, excuse me, sir, what are you doing here? And John is to all of a sudden just start, like, clocking these guys. And I'm like, yeah! Just beating up mall cops. More than likely, you probably don't have Wonder Woman 1984 without this kind of scene here, because I don't know how many certain action movies we have, like, this big, massive mall of a thing. And so, like, this is one of those. Especially for me to probably go on and not exactly be sure when this movie came out. Probably, let's guess, is it 84? I don't know, I might have to look that up. Let me pause here for a second. Surprisingly close, 85. It's like, yeah, it's probably like 84, 85. I had no clue. So I was just guessing. So technically, yeah, maybe this movie was, like, the reason why Wonder Woman did the mall scene, because Commando. So we have John that is to realize, as he's clocking all these mall cops, that all of a sudden Sully is seeing now John in this mall, and so he's like, "Oh crap, give me a quarter!" And so he's like grabbing this quarter, he's running to this like phone booth as if he's Superman, and so John is now running to this phone booth, and he like rips this phone booth out, and then he like flings it over his shoulders, and like he drops this phone booth, and so he's going after all these mall cops, and it's crazy. Like there's this one scene where like all these mall cops are like all around John, and they try to like do some kind of like scene where they're kind of like grabbing all over him and try to like dogpile or something like that. But John is to kind of like fling them all away and then go on and just continue to just clock mall cops here and there and fro. So now John has to chase after Sully, and so we of course have Cindy, who is still going to go on and be tied to this whole thing with John Matrix. So John goes and grabs Cindy's car, and then Cindy is like running outside the mall to just be like, "Hey, like I'm gonna be like still a part of this." So Cindy goes on and she gets into the car, and so they're racing after Sully in this like yellow car of sorts. So we just have John, and in my mind, I'm like thinking of Cindy that like isn't in an actual seat, and like think of all like the thrashing around within this car like that they're doing here, because John is like ramming into Sully's car to the point where Sully at some point is to get into a wreck, and then his car is to just kind of flip and flip to like the side. So we have Cindy and John who crash into this pole, and so now John is gonna pull Sully out of this car, and so it seems that John is to go on and kind of go through like Sully's stuff and finds this Sunspot hotel that has the number 5 on it. So John goes on and is to now like hoist or kind of hang upside down Sully with like one leg. And so John wants information out of Sully, and Sully's not really going to say anything. And John's like, well, good, because I'm going to go on and I'm going to just go ahead and like realize that I have all the information I already need anyways. So John, at one point while they're at the airport, is telling Sully here, it's like, well, hey, like, I like you, Sully, and so I'm gonna kill you last. And so we now have here where John is holding Sully up in the air, and John is telling Sully, it's like, well, hey, remember when I told you that I'd kill you last? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, I lied. And then he drops him, lets him fall to his death. And you get the stunt double mannequin, whatever thing that falls to its death. I don't really buy it. Anyways, so we now have Cindy's car that's like destroyed. So now we have John who has to kind of push over Sully's car and drive Sully's car now. So they go into this hotel, and it's of course the room number 5. So they make it to this hotel, and here's where conveniently we have some points where we have this couple that I guess were going at it, and we end up seeing some flashes of some lady and some man, if you know what I mean, going through some things, some bedroom things. But anyways, pushing on. John goes on into this hotel room, and so John and Cindy are going on, and they're kind of digging through John's things to just find any information they can. We weirdly have Cindy who's like picking up this phone for whatever reason, and like, I'm gonna pick up this phone. Maybe there's information from there. I don't know. So they're just going through everything, like as if like they're gonna find gold somewhere. So really, they don't get to like find anything. So all of a sudden, we luckily have it where Cook is to be knocking on this door, and so now John is to turn on the shower and is to kind of rip a little bit of Cindy's shirt and have Cindy go on and open the door and say that like, yeah, like just say that like you were with him and so on. So Cindy goes on and opens this door, and so Cook is like, well, hey, who are you? And Cindy's like, well, I'm the hired help or something like that. So like I think she says that she's like somebody, some random somebody. So Cook goes in and he's just kind of waiting for Cook to get out of the shower, but then we have John who is to surprise Cook and is to land the first punch here. So Cook, of course, is like, "Hey, you ready to fight a Green Beret?" and or some garbage like that. And so we have John who's like, "I eat Green Berets for breakfast and I'm hungry." And so we go on and we have them duke it out, and like so much so that they are like bashing through uh this like thick glass little like cube things are like bashing through that, and then they bash through this other door, and we have that's when Cindy delivers a line of like, man, these guys really must eat a lot of red meat and all this stuff. Just the barbarians of both of them. So we go on, and so they're fighting all over the place, ruining a couple's good time as they were banging it out. So Matrix then goes on and is to go and push Cook back into that other room to then have Cook land on this like wood piece that like kills him, and John is like, where is my daughter? And like Cook is now dead. He's like spilling out some blood out of the side of his mouth, and so now they're like, oh crap, like where are we gonna go now? So John goes on with Cindy to go in to, of course, Cook's car, and they're like, okay, like what information can we find out here? So Cindy is to find out that there is to be this place that is to have this certain like plane, and so like, hey, we should go there and hopefully figure out where the like follow the bouncing ball and figure out where like to go when we get there. So we also have it where John has to go to this place called Surplus City to get all of this weaponry. So John takes this bulldozer and is to bulldoze down this Surplus City, and is to start like getting this like this cart or this like flatbed of all these guns. He's like picking all of these like this clothes and all of this like weaponry and all this stuff, trying to find this one button to open up this like whole other kind of back room, where like this secret back room weirdly that is to have all these other guns and this rocket launcher and all of this stuff. So we go on and we have just John having all of this crap that he's getting, and Cindy, like we see her like hauling away all this stuff as if like we're gonna have like 20 people with John having this massive war, but like this guy is having all of this weaponry. So by the time that John makes it out of this place, all of a sudden we have all these police officers who's like, shall we go to jail? And John's like, yes. So we go on and we have John being hauled away in this police van. And so they're driving away in this police van, or this police uh it's like a it looks like an armored car, but like a very sizable thing to like haul away criminals. So we have it where Cindy is like driving by, just like, "Hey guys, woo!" And like the police officers are like, like maybe she'll give us something sweet, if you know what I mean. So Cindy all of a sudden is to whip out this rocket launcher, and she accidentally like is to go on and fire it upside down, so the rockets go that way. And so I'm like, this is just like in the army now, where Pauly Shore goes on and is trying to figure out the bazooka, and he fires it the other way. And so he goes on and he has to flip it, and it's like, hey, make sure you get this right this time around because we don't have any anymore. So then he shoots it the right way. So we have Cindy who flips it and then shoots this car, and of course it like flips over. John gets out of the vehicle because John was trying to tell these police officers like, hey, just talk to Kirby, and I'll like, and he'll know everything. And we go on. We have John who consistently is to tell everybody, yeah, just talk to General Kirby. Like he'll be able to just get me out of anything. And all these people are just like, that. And like, no, like I don't know who this guy is, and I don't care. So that's everybody's kind of feeling here. So we go on, and so John and Cindy are to make it to this like boat pier that that Cindy is to find out what this like plane is. She's like, oh my god, like this is basically a canoe with wings. Like I don't know if I can drive this or fly this. So, but we go on and we have John, who is to deck a bunch of these like soldiers that are in this kind of this little facility. And John goes on and realizes like where exactly that these people have flown to, and I guess it's some island exclusively that Arius is to be on. So they go on longitude and latitude and figure out exactly where this island is, and they're like, oh, okay. So Cindy and John kind of sneak onto this plane, and there seems to be a number of guys trying to stop them. They're like, da 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 da, with all these guns. John is desperately trying to have Cindy like get this plane a going, and so John finally shoots the guys, and they fall off this bridge, and their car also falls off. So John and Cindy finally figure out how to like fly this thing, and so they go off and they make it to this island. And so by then, like, because we had about like 5 hours by the time that John was with the police, like being escorted off. And so like this technically is a movie that is also feel like Escape from New York, where we have this like time limit kind of movie. But anyways, so John goes on and is to make his way to this island, and he is now in a Speedo, and he's telling Cindy to like stay by the plane, and is to consistently call out for of course Kirby, and to tell him like, well, hey, code red, and call all these things off. So and then John is going to go on and take down everybody. So John is going on and rowing his way up to this island, and so I think it's about like roughly 2 hours supposedly left on this guy's clock, maybe less than that. And so the plan ends up landing, and so it seems that the guys that are kind of waiting for both Matrix and for both uh, uh, Henriquez. Come to find out, they find a guy who had died and no John Matrix. So they end up making a phone call telling Arius that John did not make it. So they're like, okay, well, I guess Jenny's gonna be dead. So Jenny, Jenny's going on and is to pull apart this one doorknob and be able to try to like use this tool to try to open this wood piece to hopefully sneak out. So John is to go on with all of his gear, put all this gear on, and is to go on and make his way to all of these men and start like gunning them down. And so we just start seeing guys like flying. It's crazy. Like how many guys have to all fly in the air as soon as they get shot? They get shot and they have to like fly 20 feet. It's hilarious. And we go on and we have all these guys that are like gymnast flipping and all this stuff when like things explode. It's freaking hilarious. So John is going on and also like blowing up this building, and it's a shoot down this tower sniper and all this stuff. So John is to go on and blow up all these buildings, and so at one point we go on and we have a grenade tossed by him and or tossed at him, I mean. And so John ends up getting injured and he's like, ugh, so he has to go into this shed. And now since John is, I guess, kind of running out of all of his his weapons and whatever, because he's expended them all, we then go on and have all these guys who decide like, well, hey, like he's in the shed, let's all circle around it and let's blast this whole shed. So they go on and they put as many bullets as they can into the shed. And they're like, oh, okay, well, he's probably dead now. So they open the shed, and of course, John. Let me pause here for 1 second. All right. So we have John who's in this shed and opens this door. And he comes flying out, and here's where he has all these like tools. And he's like chopping. He's like freaking chopping people up, freaking chopping a guy's arm off. And so here's like a part where I want to go on and I want to like transition here. There's some parts that I forgot about. So one, we had at one point where Cindy and John were flying on this plane, and we had like Bill Paxton who was to play this interceptor officer who's like telling Arnold like, well, hey, like you need to land this plane because this is like a restricted airspace. And John and Cindy decide that they're going to go and kind of fly down under the radar, and like they go on and do that, and then the interceptor officer is like, well, couldn't find him. And we also had another scene where Arius was talking to Bennett, because we have Bennett who's talking to some thug. It's like, well, yeah, like cutting that girl's throat is like cutting through butter or something like that. And so we have Bennett talking to Arius and is mentioning how like these guys like think that they're so tough, but he laughs at them because the only two guys that are really tough are Bennett and John, and that really like John, when he gets here, is going to tear through all these men, and then it'll only be like Bennett who's going to save Arius from him, because of uh, how trained Bennett really is. So we now go on and have John, who is making his way through all these men. Like we said, he's going to tear through all of them. And so we go on and have Jenny, who is to have run away, while Bennett is to like scramble to where Jenny is, realizing that this door doesn't work. So he is to go on and see that there's to be this hole in this wood piece. So Bennett goes on and just rams through this wood piece, or this wood wall, to run after Jenny. So, and I'm trying to think if John goes on and kills Arius. More than likely. But I'm just trying to remember like how that plays out. Because we go on and we have, I think, Bennett and John are the only two left here. So we go on and we have Jenny, who's hiding away, and so Bennett is looking after or trying to find her. So John is also trying to find where Jenny is, and so he goes on and is to bump into Bennett while Bennett is grabbing Jenny, and so Bennett has a gun and he shoots John, but it looks like the gun or the bullet just kind of skids onto John's arm. And so now Bennett is asking John, it's like, how's the arm, John? And so John is wanting to convince Bennett that he doesn't need that gun, and why not just like have a knife to go up against Bennett. And come on, like you can slice into me and you can kill me that way. Don't you want to like kill me that way? So Bennett's like, yeah, I don't need this girl, I don't need this gun. And so Bennett goes on and he whips out this knife, and so both John and Bennett are fighting with these knives. Jenny's watching on. Oh my god. So eventually we have them kind of both duking it out. Bennett is to get some upper hand, but really John is to also go on and get some pretty good licks in too. So Bennett is to go on and realize it's like, well, hey, like, I'm going to just grab this gun that's over here and just try to shoot John, because F this. Like, if I'm not going to win in a battle of strength, then I can go on and just kill John this way. So Bennett is mentioning about putting a bullet through John's eyes, and so John is to take this kind of metal, like tube piece or metal like pipe piece, and shoves it into Bennett's heart, and then a bunch of steam comes out, and so John makes some crap about, yeah, like Bennett's full of steam or something like that, and just walks off, or some goofy line like that. So after John is to deck everybody and kill everyone, John then goes off and is to meet up with Kirby, who is to have all of his men kind of fly in. So we of course have Kirby, who's telling John, it's like, well, hey, like, you're gonna go on and you're gonna do another mission with me, and I'm gonna give you a whole set of men. And John's like, no. Like, no, I'm not gonna do this. And Kirby's like, well, you're going to eventually anyways. And John's like, want to bet on it? Like, no. So John goes off with Cindy back onto this plane, and they just get the heck out of there. And that's the way the movie just ends. So speaking of ends, I think it's about that time to get out of here so I can go on and probably fuse footage together, because I had a little glitch where I had to kind of technically start a new clip over, but kind of just finish off where I went. So let me know how you felt about Commando at the end of the day. Let me know how you felt about whichever, because that's perfectly fine for whatever comments, because it helps. Thank you for watching this. Thank you for being a part of this channel. But I think I'm going to head on out of here. Goodbye, everybody. Bye, everybody.